Hey, the essay you're about to engage with is designed to be both listened to and read simultaneously, so you can head to my website linked in the show notes below to gain access to the written version of it. Engaging with multiple sensory modalities just helps you gain a greater depth of understanding and clarity of the messages I'm hoping to impart. Plus, it allows you to turn and speed up the audio a little bit so that you can get through the material a little bit quicker. Once you're done, if you want to comment below, let me know what you thought, agreements, disagreements, respectful dialogue only, please. That would be great. Otherwise, thank you for your presence and enjoy. I spent 4 months talking with thousands of Americans all over the country about the 2020 election. I was hesitant to get involved at first, given how touchy a subject politics is these days. Seems like everyone's just one breath away from detonating. So to justify the involvement to myself, I made an intention. Less debating, more listening. So after many hours of tuning into my community, I'd like to share 21 short lessons I learned. Lesson 1. Most people are sane and kind. Radicals on either side, though growing in numbers, are still few and far between. Disaster porn is all the rage, but don't let the algorithms convince you that the world is lost, that our society is filled only with lunatics and fools. There's still a lot of promise. Lesson number 2, listen first. Ask questions second, disagree third. In general, humans can tell whether or not someone is making a genuine effort to understand their point of view. Real listening, the kind that uses empathy as its backdrop, is the only gateway to respectful dialogue, meaning it is the most efficient way to educate and change minds. Lesson number 3, there is no them. We all have this egoic tendency in ourselves to think that they are the problem. They are what's wrong with America. If only they would start doing this or stop doing that, then we'd be good. As soon as they behave according to our beliefs and standards, then society will function perfectly. But who are they, really? They are scapegoats, illusory entities we believe source our suffering. They are the easy way out, fictional groups of sinners we blame whenever we feel even slightly out of control. They are the product of self-induced fear, a hallucination dreamt up to avoid the terrifying pursuit of our deepest and wildest fantasies. And why do we create a them? Because a them implies a me, and a me provides temporary meaning, a false sense of meaning, within an epic, overwhelming, and frankly ungovernable universe. And yet, believing we know any group based on brief interactions is both irresponsible and hypocritical. I'm sure you don't like it when others put you in a box, when strangers believe they know you based on appearance. So why do it to them? You and I are more than our stereotypes. You and I are more than our surface-level identities. And they are too. Lesson 4. Maybe the problem is you. Maybe America is breaking down due to your tribalistic attitudes and tendencies. Maybe it's due to the fact that you put yourself into a little bubble and demonize those outside of it. Maybe if you make serious efforts to become more selfless and loving, the world will join in. Lesson 5. Wait a second. Maybe the problem is me. Maybe America is breaking down to my bias and greed. Maybe it's due to the fact that I'm being closed-minded. Maybe if I make serious efforts to become more selfless and loving, the world will join in. Lesson 6. Suffering is a self-perpetuating loop. How we treat others is a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. When life gets difficult, the unconscious tendency is to take that pain and throw it back into the world. We mask self-hatred with blame and anger. We bully to cover up our own insecurities. We divide because we're lonely. Let this vicious cycle stop with you. Sit with your suffering. Listen to it. Learn from it. Heal from it. Become more compassionate because of it. Lesson number 7. It's all luck. At the very least, your personality is sculpted by your DNA, upbringing, culture, and information you're frequently exposed to. So is everyone else's. Some of us were dealt a privileged hand, however one chooses to define that word. Most of us were not. Some of us grew up in loving homes. Most of us grew up in fear-based homes. Some of us were exposed to this information over here, but most of us were exposed to that information over there. Humans aren't evil, they're products of circumstance. Our job, then, is simply to remain present enough to learn someone else's story and what narrative they're being fed so that our compassion for them grows. Simple. Lesson number 8. Debate ideas, not personalities. Uncouple the opinion from the individual who holds the opinion, and then have an informed discussion like humanity's shared purpose, reducing the suffering of sentient beings. Interactions that share a common goal are automatically more civil and effective. Share findings and interesting facts. Collaborate on solutions. Challenge each other's assumptions. Find joy in the process of making our world a better place. Lesson number 9. Grouping people into categories is a sloppy way of condemning behavior. Not all Muslims are terrorists, just like not all cops are bastards, just like not all Democrats are lazy snowflakes, just like not all Republicans are racist xenophobes. Voting for Donald Trump does not imply a pro-gun stance, just like voting for Joe Biden does not imply a pro-choice one. Labels say nothing about a person or their personhood. We are all multidimensional in our opinions and expressions and desires. Instead of lumping and demonizing, let's concentrate on the men and women who we find moral and upright. That way, citizens have people to look up to and model, in turn priming our brains to look for the good. Lesson number 10. Berating and shaming someone for speaking their mind will never, ever get them to change into the person you want them to be. When's the last time you altered your opinion while someone vehemently criticizes your character? Resist the rocketing urge to body slam your opponent with all of the glorious knowledge you think you've acquired. Yes, even if they are being verbally hostile and are spewing straight fucking nonsense. It's okay to share opinions and data. It's okay to want more from them. It's even okay to gently shake them by the shoulders if you believe in an absolute necessity. But underneath the volcanic desire, practice patience. Deep, pure, flowing patience. It's the only way forward. You'll drive yourself bonkers expecting the universe to adopt your worldview overnight. Besides, deep down, that person you're arguing with wants the exact same things you do, namely peace, joy, and love. Indeed, in a very real way, they are you, just with different starting life initial conditions. Plus, the greatest tool we have as a species is conversation. It's the glue that keeps civilization from falling apart. And productive conversations, i.e. step 1 of social change, are filled with kindness and perseverance. Lesson 11. End cancel culture. It's like the war on drugs or the taboo surrounding sex. What happens when you make something not okay to do, talk, or think about? People will do it even more, right? And usually in a way that's much worse for everyone's health. Build a world in which free and honest dialogue is the rule, not the exception. In this case, virtue signaling and trolling on comment threads online has to stop. And we have to stop raising our voices and name-calling in person. It's time we grew up and started acting like compassionate adults. We're all in this together, and we're all making this up as we go. Lesson 12. Ignorance is not a bad thing. If anything can be considered bad, it's being stubborn. Being wrong and learning is called progress. It's what it means to evolve and grow as a human. If your actions came from a place of ill will, genuinely apologize for your ignorance, and then flip-flop as quickly as you possibly can. Lesson 13. Forgive flip-floppers after a genuine apology has been issued. I mean, think about how much more willing people would be to change their minds if they knew society wouldn't shame them for their ignorance. This is how we will create resilient relationships and heal societal wounds. Note here that genuine apology is admittedly a loaded phrase because we all have different standards of what we feel is authentic, kind, and remorseful. There is no such thing as an objectively good or correct apology. There's only your biased interpretation of it. You'll never actually know for certain whether someone's apology was truly genuine or not. It will be a matter of trust. At the end of the day, then, forgiveness is up to you. It's a binary decision. Either the past is held onto or it's released. Either you carry the burden or you drop it. Lesson 14, trust the experts. When you don't know the facts, which will be most, if not all, of the time, depend on the scientists and thinkers who have dedicated their short lives trying to understand the nuances of an issue. Whatever their intellectual niche, you can virtually guarantee that they know more about the topic than you and me. What will we do when there's no one left to trust? Lesson 15. Experts are human, and humans are fallible. Let's be honest, nobody actually knows what the hell is going on. Our bodies are made from exploded stars, we live on a green asteroid hurling through an infinite void, and our brains are interfacing with each other through silicon chips and satellites. It makes absolutely no sense. None at all. Science is simply our best attempt at explaining the features of this universe. It's an extremely powerful tool held by extremely imperfect people. Lesson 16. It isn't necessary to have an opinion on everything. In fact, it isn't really necessary to have an opinion on anything at all. No one can be educated on every subject. It's literally impossible. Lesson 17. Solutions are never at the extremes. They're in that weird gray area surrounded by subtlety and compromise. Society is extraordinarily complex, as are the problems it faces, so we just shouldn't be surprised to find the solutions to be equally intricate and involved. The ideal world you and I dream of, the utopia we create in our minds, is delusional. There are better futures out there, absolutely, but it won't look like the ones we imagine in our heads. If anything, it will be more beautiful, more inclusive. Lesson 18, focus on what you can control. Attention. Attention to thoughts and behaviors. Attention to relationships. Attention within and around your community. Attention to presence itself. Are you being kind? Are you listening? Lasting change starts in your head, moves into your home, expands into your neighborhood, and then ripples into city, state, country, and even world. Lesson 19. Take a long break from the internet at least once a day. Spending hours in a row looking at emotionally triggering material is making you pessimistic, paranoid, and tense. It's overstimulating your nervous system, and the stress will literally kill you. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Turn off your screen and take like 10 really deep breaths into your belly. Go to a park and take a walk without any electronics. Marvel at the birds and trees. Stretch, meditate, listen to the silence. Be here now. Lesson 20. Love thy neighbor and your fellow Americans and your species and the planet and worlds far, far away. We are far more similar than we are different. Hate is a virus of the mind, only it spreads through internet memes, conspiracy theories, and Facebook algorithms. It can live in your subconscious for years, lying dormant until the perfect opportunity arises to attack. It thrives on separation and will try to convince you that peace is only possible through war. Don't fall for it. That's the voice of an egomaniac. Escape while you still can. Lesson number 21. Do anything and everything in your power to heal the divide. And I don't just mean the Republican-Democrat divide either. I'm talking all of it. The now violent divide between vaxxed and unvaxxed, pro-choice and pro-life, for guns and against guns. The xenophobic divide between the US, Russia, China, Middle East, and Europe. The alarming divide between humanity and nature that now threatens to wipe out our species. The growing divide some of us feel towards our own friends and family. Most importantly, though, I'm talking about the divide you feel from yourself, the only relationship that truly matters. Heal that, and you heal everything else. If our species fails to do this, if we fail to see ourselves and each other as human beings, we are in serious trouble. Either we become one consciousness, or we fall apart into yet more fragmented egos. War or peace? The choice is yours.